details, and at the end we can have a sort of open floor for any questions as well.
Sounds good with me. Awesome. So, hey, my name is Michael. I'm here going to host this AMA with Steam Exchange via Moonarch Snipes. We have Neville and Enki here. Are you able to introduce yourselves to us?
For sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Neville Devecha. I'm the president and head of operations for Steam Exchange. Enki, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey guys, good to be here. My name is Enki, my TG name rather, and I am the head of PR for Steam Exchange.
Awesome. So are you able to go into some details? What is your personal and team credentials or experience with working with tokens or software engineer, et cetera, like that?
Sure. So my background has always been in IT, right? So I've always been in my career in some form or manner in the IT industry. As far as the crypto space goes, I've been in crypto since Bitcoin was a seed phrase in a text file on my computer. So I've been into crypto for a long time. I do have a lot of mining experience. I do a lot of Solidity work. I work on blockchains. So my depth of knowledge for the crypto ecosphere is fairly verse, right? As far as my professional career goes, I have worked for multiple Fortune 500 companies, ranging from IBM all the way to DHL Express, um, in various roles, right? So it started off as end user services, simple things like being on a help desk in the beginning, all the way to running major projects and migration plans for DHL. So that's kind of my background in a nutshell. Enki, did you want to speak to your background quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. So, unlike Neville, I do have a tad bit more of a recent sort of approach to crypto. I'd say maybe 2 to 3 years ago is when I actually started dabbling and investing a little more. But when it comes to the professional side, that is something that I do resonate with Neville. I have worked for a few Fortune 500 companies as well. My background essentially was business consultancy and then marketing as well. So that's where a conversation started. And essentially things got going, but and we can get into the depths of it as well, but we see Steam Exchange as a project that goes way beyond the BSC space as well, right? And that's where some of the real world marketing comes in as well. So we can get into that, but yeah, that's a small introduction of our background.
That's awesome. It seems like you guys actually have a lot of credentials to kind of like back this up, which is really good. You guys are doxed. That's also really good. So what is Steam Exchange?
Not yet, but yes, the core team, the co-founders, the president, CEO, and Chris, who's our lead of infrastructure. Yes, the three of them are docs.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. What is your token about? What is the Steam Exchange? Give me a lowdown of this.
For sure. So Steam Exchange is essentially a centralized and decentralized platform. It's based out of Canada. The main reason for that, obviously, is we are all Canadian. So the entire core team is from Canada. We're all centralized in Toronto or around the city. There's a lot of issues and scrutiny around cryptocurrency in the world, but Canada itself is where we're being impacted. So we decided it was time to step in and try to make a change, right? And that change essentially was to bridge the gap with what's going on in the world. What we're finding is that organizations such as like Binance, Crypto.com, these larger titans who's been in the space for a long time, they got away with essentially murder because they didn't have to regulate or they didn't have to abide within the realms of compliance. So they kind of got grandfathered into some form of system, but now that time has come to an end, right? So now Binance was asked by our Ontario Securities Commission, which is the local securities commission in Ontario, to basically regulate or exit our market. And they chose, unfortunately, to do the latter, and they're exiting our market as of December 31st, 2021. What does that do? So I personally use Binance today because there's no other feasible option for me in Canada. So all the other platforms that exist in Canada, they're kind of subpar, right? They don't offer the functions and features. They don't offer the right trading pairs. They're not easy to use. It's kind of there because they know they can be there and they know Canadians will use it. That leaves about 1.4 million users in Ontario alone without a cryptocurrency exchange at the end of December 31st. So that's pretty big if you think about it on a local scale, right? Because Binance had the opportunity and they were in a unique position at the time of being the first, or one of the first rather. And when something's the first in a time of uncertainty and a time where there was no rules and regulations, it's easy to gravitate towards a platform. So they had kind of an easy job of tackling a market. Us, on the other hand, we're in a unique position now where we're entering the market when regulations and compliance is in the forefront of cryptocurrency, and the whole world is trying to find a way to make this safer for everybody. People think of regulations of kind of like, the government stepping in and controlling how things function, but that's not necessarily the case, right? The intentions, and especially with our engagement with the OSC in the last couple of weeks, their intentions is to make it safer for investors, right? Because as we know, not everyone knows what cryptocurrency is. And that we'll touch on that in a little bit and how we want to tackle that. But essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a safe and confident environment that has robust functions and features with proprietary functions and features that don't exist today. um, Gary says it really well in our AMAs. Everything we do, we want it to become the new golden standard in the industry, right? We've all been around the block for a long time. We've all used a lot of platforms. So we know what works and what doesn't work, at least for us, right? And with our knowledge and our backgrounds, that definitely came as a benefit to putting this platform together. An example of one of the proprietary functions and features that don't exist today, or at least doesn't exist, properly, is tokenomics. So we know, SafeMoon, when they launched, it was it was a fork of another reflection token. So reflections and tokenomics already existed, but it wasn't mass adopted. So they had the opportunity to mass adopt tokenomics. But what did that do to the platforms? So as they started listing on platforms, we found that the platforms, because they were developed the way they were developed, which is database related trading, they couldn't support tokenomics because tokenomics is a live and a fluid thing, right? It comes from the node. The data has to be real time, and if it's not, it just doesn't work. So that's why you found platforms like Whitebit or other platforms who couldn't support tokenomics natively. That's where we kind of have the differentiator and the benefit. Because we're built from scratch, we have the opportunity to build our platform around these functions and features that don't exist today and do it right. The way we accomplish that, for example, is we've integrated the entire Binance Smart Chain and the BNB mainnet into our platform. So when we need to have or list a token that has tokenomics, it's easy to do calls and pulls from the actual smart chain to reflect into our database immediately. So again, that's just an example of a proprietary function that we're developing and doing it right. Also for Steam Exchange, this ties into the knowledge factor of the ecosphere. Uh, Steam Exchange wants to do physical locations. What does that mean? So of course, the upside of any business is always a priority, but not really for Steam Exchange. We're prioritizing the user experience. So we're doing physical locations. Obviously, that's going to start in Canada because that's where we're going to have our first headquarters. But the idea around it is to offer the consumer or the end user an opportunity to learn what cryptocurrency is. So there's a lot of people in the world that know cryptocurrency to either be, Bitcoin yesterday, or today maybe just SafeMoon, right? Because it's been in the media, it's been on the news, but they don't know how to get into it. And if they do get into it, it's from a referral. A friend kind of grabbed their phone, downloaded a Trust Wallet, put some BNB in there, and then they purchased a cryptocurrency. But then what happens after that, right? We all know what happens to charts, especially in this space, right? How does the new investor or the person who's doing it for the first time know when to get out? How do they know how to buy into something else, right? How do they protect themselves? And that's the problem we're trying to solve. So what we're going to offer is learning, and not your typical, average Joe learning. We want to actually create smarter investors, and the way we're going to do this is it starts very rudimentary, right? So we're going to do basically the fundamentals of crypto, how it started, where we are today, and where it's going tomorrow. So you have a true understanding of what a cryptocurrency is, or any digital asset for that matter, and how it functions. After you've versed yourself in that category, you move on to trading. So how do you do basic swaps? What are you looking for in a project or in a coin to invest in? Um, Advanced trading techniques such as stop limits, market limits, whatever the middle ground is between swap and
Let's
advanced. And then you have,
go.
hey man, how's it going? And then you have advanced trading, right? So advanced trading would be, leverage trading, derivative trading, anything that is an advanced trading function. You would learn how to do those safely and confidently. And then we take it one step further. and teach you technical analysis. So we teach you basic technical analysis, how to do like fib retracements and stuff like that, and then we go all the way to advanced technical analysis. So the idea is that by the time you're done with our learning, you don't really need your friend to download Trust Wallet for you and buy a token for you, right? You know what you're doing, you know how to analyze it, you're making smarter investment choices for yourself without anyone offering you any kind of interference or kind of financial advice. So that's kind of what our learning and physical locations are all about. So we took that vision and we took that idea and we got started, right? So we haven't launched yet, but up until now, we've already completed 66% of our platform. So what does that entail, right? So we have stage one. Our stage one was a functional proof of concept. So that proof of concept was ideally an ugly looking trading platform that functioned with everything that we needed to move forward with development. So we had trading base trading pairs. We had the BTC node, the ETH node. We plugged in the Binance Smart Chain. We plugged in KYC servers around the world, so that way KYC becomes an easy task for us to target later on. And then we moved on to stage two. So stage two was taking that that base platform, optimizing it, tweaking the UI to kind of align better with our our color themes. The buttons look nicer, right? It just became a more polished product, but by no means is our final product. And that brings us to where we are today. So today we're at stage three. So stage three is where we start developing and integrating all of our proprietary functions and features. Um, One of those integrations is ours, and I mentioned earlier, we are a centralized and decentralized exchange, and I'll explain why that's, or give you one example of why that's a benefit. Um, Integrating the DEX and what that means. So, say you have a trade, you're trying to trade a significantly large amount of crypto for another crypto or just fiat, whatever it is. And today the way it functions is you put your trade on the market and you wait for it to be filled. And those trades are being filled within the ecosystem of the platform. So if you're using crypto.com and you put a trade in, someone else from crypto.com is picking up that trade, and it all happens on the blockchain automatically. Uh, the downfall with that is that if there's not enough market takers to fill that order, your order will have to be canceled because the price is gonna proceed. It's gonna reach a point where your trade's not gonna fill, and you have to cancel and do it again. And I'm sure everyone's experienced that in some way or some form. So this is where the DEX comes into play. So the DEX, what it does is when your trade goes and hits the market, yes, it will try to fill internally first within the first X amount of time. And as soon as the algorithms see that it's no longer being filled, it'll immediately move to the DEX by a P2P pool to be continued and to fill P2P. So now your large trades, you don't have to worry about canceling it, going to bed, putting in a trade, wondering if it's going to fill. You can be confident knowing that the pool and the takers of that market is large enough to fill any order you put in. So Steam Exchange doesn't necessarily have to have 1 million users or 10 million users. Your order can still be filled no matter which way you put it in. So that's an example of a function and feature we're plugging into our platform that makes us different than everyone else, right? How we plan to accomplish this. So regulations and compliance around the world is different, right? So every regulatory body has their own requirements on how a platform should function. So what we said was, you know what, forget all that. Like, let's not worry about, catering to each individual country. Let's just do exactly what they want us to do, from the ground level, from the ground floor. So the way we're doing that is we're not operating like other platforms in the sense that we have an inventory of cryptocurrency. So we don't have our own crypto in the platform. We don't have a bulk or a block of cryptocurrency in our platform. It all happens on the blockchain. So all your trades, everything you're doing and whatever you're trading against is not the platform. You're trading against real people from all over the world. And that solves the main regulatory issue of being a dealer, a cryptocurrency dealer. So Steam Exchange will not be a cryptocurrency dealer except for our own native coin. In all other aspects, Steam Exchange will be a facilitator. Right, so we're going to develop functions and features that make us unique and make us better, but it's with that in mind, with compliance and with regulations in mind. So why do people need us? So the issue that we're having today is that people don't know how to trade cryptocurrency. They're presented with some kind of learning, somewhere down the line. I can give you an example on Binance. They don't really tell you before you put a trade in, hey, do you know what you're doing? But the second you go to leverage trading, they stop you in your tracks and say, hey, do you know what you're doing? Maybe you should check out this learning module to make sure that you understand derivative trading or leverage trading. But that's not to protect the consumer, that's to protect themselves. Because leverage trading is, as we all know, like it can strongly benefit the platform or it can strongly benefit the end user, right? Depending on how the trade goes. So Binance protects themselves to make sure that you know what you're doing, but it's not really for the end user. Us, on the other hand, we want to protect the consumer. We know the platform is doing what it's doing and it's doing it well. So we want to make sure the consumer that's investing their hard-earned money into cryptocurrencies know what they're doing, right? And I think that's a much needed breath of fresh air in the world or in the industry, because it's now selfless, right? Providing this platform is now selfless. It's not a selfish act. Yes, of course, Steam Exchange has an upside. Steam Exchange will, generate fees and revenue and all those good things a business should have. But the main function of Steam Exchange is to make sure that the people and the end consumers are protected and they're making smarter decisions. Tie that in with the physical locations and the learning, it truly makes us a differentiator. Uh, just jumping into some marketing efforts. So we definitely wanted to do BSC space marketing. That was really important because, of course, we are launching a BSC token. But the idea behind marketing for us was real world marketing, because our platform is not a BSC platform. It is a centralized cryptocurrency exchange. So I'm going to pass it off to Enki to talk a little bit about our marketing efforts before we move into some of our registrations.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Neville. And yeah, guys, as Neville mentioned, we are looking beyond the BSC space as well, right? So with the BSC space in particular being as fast-paced and active as it is, it's quite challenging at times. So people don't notice when a credible project comes their way, right? And at the same time, for a project of our caliber, we have to look beyond the BSC space, as we mentioned, and that's where some real-world marketing comes in. So I'm just going to break up the following, just the conversation, into two buckets. One would be what we did beyond the BSC space, and one is within the BSC space. So for the outside world beyond the BSC space, we start off with analytics, the foundational analytics on our website, right? So that had to be key, because if you're driving any marketing efforts or pushing any dollars out to attract traffic, you have to be able to track it. You have to be able to drop cookies. You have to be able to retarget. Those are foundational things that must be done. So we started off there. And also we did website optimizations across the board, right? So we made everything a little sleeker. I know Mick has the website up. So for those of you who haven't had a look, please go ahead and do so. Our story was also covered by Yahoo Finance, Canadian Insider, and CEO Canada, to name a few, right? So they actually positioned us as a homegrown Canadian crypto startup that was taking on Binance and some of the larger exchanges in a bid to be completely compliant and offer a safe space for investors in the crypto sphere. So that was a major sort of publicity aspect for us. We also then proceeded to build out our media content base across multiple social media platforms. So Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it, anywhere someone outside of the crypto realm. I know we're quite sort of focused on TG and Discord, but we have to understand that there are people beyond that space that are actual investors that may not be as savvy with these platforms. So that's what we try to do with building out our media content base across mainstream media. So that was it. Google Ads. So that is a huge platform that actually enables us and helps us get the word out about Steam Exchange, right? So we are one of 15 global enterprises that are allowed and sort of to advertise cryptocurrency related information or material on Google. So that was a major win for us, and we continue to see that being a major driving force as we expand as well. So that's big. We also had a chatbot integration. So just tying back to the TG Discord limitation for the outside world, we have a chatbot on our website. We have a great team that constantly and sort of actively monitors that chatbot and our support inbox to give people accurate responses and timely responses, right? So that's in a nutshell what we did outside of the BSC space. In the BSC space, we all know there's a short attention span, right? So we've been trying to combine efforts that have been spread across weeks and some that are targeted and released on the day, right? So it's a middle ground that we've been trying to find, and essentially Reddit posts, right? So we've done a few, we've been trending each time. We will continue to do those. We have Twitter posts that we had done fairly recently, and we were constantly trending across multiple hashtags that we called out. So hashtag Bitcoin, for example, hashtag Binance, hashtag SafeMoon. we were constantly trending on there, and that was a good source of traffic for us as well, and we will continue to do so. Community AMAs. So that's been a big factor like us. So sort of credible communities like this space, like Moonarch Snipes, we want to come in to communities like this, share the word about Steam Exchange, have a conversation, have a little bit of a healthy discussion, and share more about our story, right? Because that's what we see immensely valuable, to actually bringing in quality investors for the long term in the BSC space. So that's something we will continue to do. We have an amazing shill army, so they truly have been a force to be reckoned with. So we've had raids at all times of the day. We've set up multiple sessions all throughout the day, and they've been a great driving force in terms of organic marketing as well. So just a shout out to our raid army. We've done TG announcement and channel posts across the board. So some fairly large channels, we've got messaging out there, and we will continue to do so. We have YouTube videos set up that are multi-language and sort of just encompass different cultures as well, right? So Steam Exchange, definitely the way we like to position ourselves is we say we are a global initiative with a Canadian core. So yes, this is where we will start off, but our ambitions go all across the world, right? And that's why we want to welcome people from different communities, from different cultural backgrounds as well. So we've had YouTube videos and TikTok videos go out with a cultural and a language diversification there. So that's been something. We also have a few of those lined up. We have poo coins that, even though we did receive mixed sort of feedback about, we will very likely be doing a full day of PooCoin ads tomorrow. Our launch is on Saturday, the 25th. We will go live on Saturday, the 25th. So we plan on doing a whole day of PooCoin ads tomorrow. And also, like I mentioned, we've seen tremendous growth from communities outside of Canada as well. And for the interest of the community, we will keep our group consolidated into one, just to provide accurate messaging across the board. And once we go live, that's when we will split up into our different community groups, should the numbers and sort of interest demand it. So that, in a small nutshell, is the efforts that we've been driving to push the Steam Exchange messaging, guys. And we look forward to your engagement and support. And people will essentially hear and know about Steam Exchange far and wide, right? It's just a matter of when. We also have some big things lined up that we cannot disclose just yet, right? In the best interest of our community, in the best interest of our strategic priorities, we can't be completely transparent when it comes to that. But all I will say that there are some huge things planned, and it's going to be a fun ride, and we hope that you guys are going to come along for the journey. So with that being said, I'm going to just bounce it back to Neville.
Thanks, Anki. Just to touch back a little bit about the difference between TG, Discord, and I guess the website. So when we started doing the Google Ads, it was a slow process, right? So it takes time to build the data and the analytics, and then eventually it goes full blown. That's just kind of how the AdSense works. So once it went full blown, people didn't just join our TG. They started emailing us from the website, from the email that's on the website, our support email address, and they started asking us some real world questions. Some of those questions were around regulation. Some of those questions were around, where we are with the OSC. But the more interesting questions was, I have a retail platform that I want to integrate into your platform. I'm a retail investor. I want to invest in your platform. So stuff like that came up from the real world, which is pretty rare in the BSE or in the crypto ecosphere in general, right? So people are recognizing that Steam Exchange is going to be the differentiator in the space, and they want to get on board as fast as they can. Aside from that, we already get messages from other projects and tokens, Canadian projects and tokens that want to list on our platform, and we always unfortunately have to tell them, at this time we're not taking any listing proposals. It has nothing to do with them, and it has more to do with us and our readiness. So our main priority is on developing the platform. We don't have a headquarters today. We do have an operational address where we work, where we operate from, but it's not a headquarters by any means that anyone can walk into, because our main priority is to develop the platform. So that's kind of where we are with our platform. So let's just talk about some of our registrations and our credits, right? So we are fully incorporated in Ontario, Canada. So we're a registered business. We have our Duns and Bradstreet number. So Duns and Bradstreet is kind of like a credit you get from a private firm, and it basically vets your business, and it vets the people that are a part of your organization, and it aligns you with different branches around the world. So some of the things that we've aligned with already is government. So we're allowed to market and reach out to government agencies, in Canada and in the U.S. We're able to develop official Apple apps, right? So we can develop an app, have it signed by Apple itself. So those are some of the benefits of having a good rating with Duns and Bradstreet. FinTrack. So FinTrack is the anti-money laundering and anti-terrorist funding organization in Canada, right? So basically, what they do is, and depending where you are in the world, they kind of operate the same way with your own jurisdiction. Is when you go to the bank or you go somewhere and you're trying to transfer any amount over $10,000, they start asking you some questions, right? That's what FinTrack is. So FinTrack aligned with our article of incorporation and our money service business registration, gave us the green light to operate that way. So they're saying we're trusting you to intake a large amount of money and dispense a large amount of money in Canada. And that also ties in to the other FinTrack organizations around the world. Job listings. So we have been in search of 2 developers, and the search has been really vast, right? So we've had over 440 applicants, and we've done about 120 interviews in the last 3 weeks. Out of those 120 interviews, we've selected 6 candidates to do a test for us, right? So, and that test was an extremely, extremely difficult test to do, and they're slowly presenting those outputs to us. So we're very close to hiring our lead developers to help carry us over to the end of the road. But again, like we said, it's a very difficult process and it's a very challenging process, and interviewing is always, a double-edged sword. So we're definitely a short list of candidates of 6, and those 6 candidates are extremely strong. So we look forward to bringing on 2 of them, and they're going to be focused on developing. So one will be focused on developing our platform and the functions and features of our platform, and the second one will be dedicated on developing our native coin and our native blockchain. So we're not forking any native coin, we're not forking any blockchain, we're actually developing one from scratch. And the reason for that is that we eventually want to be the blockchain of choice. So in the beginning, our blockchain will be our internal ecosystem and our native coin will be our trading pair of choice. But as we grow and as we expand, our blockchain is being developed open-ended to expand outside of our ecosystem. So definitely more information on that to come during stage 3. Uh, and the last thing I wanted to touch on was our partnership. So we have a pretty strong partnership with the University of Waterloo. They're one of the top rated tech schools in Canada, and they're amongst the top 10 in the world. So the University of Waterloo um, offered us their students, in the sense that we have something called a co-op program in Canada. And what that means is, for an entire semester of a student's educational journey, they would come work with Steam Exchange. So they're going to experience, in this case, how cryptocurrencies work, how blockchains work. They're going to help develop the blockchain with the lead developers. They're going to help develop the platform with the developers, and it's a learning experience for them. And we're actually the people that grade them for their semester. So the work that they do and the output that they provide and their learning curve and how much they learn, will be graded by us, and that will be their grade for the semester for their program in their university at Waterloo. So it's a pretty cool partnership. And then it's going to tie into our own learning courses, right? So as we develop our learning, it's going to be with students in mind, right? And what COVID's taught us is that, all learning online is not fair and it's not easy for everybody. So a lot of these students started their educational journey, in person with in-person learning, and then all of a sudden they had to transition to online only learning. And the feedback that we've gotten from these students, and again, we've interviewed a lot of students as well. That's not even included in the number of interviews we did for our lead developers. Um, their feedback was, and we always ask this question because we're building that data, is that learning online is probably the worst thing for anybody, whether you be a professional student who's in school and learning is your number one priority, or you're an average consumer who's trying to learn something new. So online learning doesn't always help everyone. Yes, some people are awesome at it. Some people can do it. As a coder and developer myself, yeah, I can learn online, no problem. Um, but for some of these students and other people that are not students and are just average consumers, online learning is not the best method of delivery. So that's why it ties back into our physical locations. We're giving people the option of walking in and learning in person, right? These are kind of the differentiators that make us different than the other platforms that exist today. And just to kind of tie it all off, right? Yes, we are entering the BSC space, but by no means, as Enki mentioned, is this our final destination. So our final destination is to provide a fully robust, centralized and decentralized cryptocurrency platform for the entire world to use.
Nice. You guys come well prepared. You guys probably have like a script of things to say, and you're like, I have to cover all
No,
these
man,
things.
no script,
Yeah.
buddy. This is all from the heart, my man.
So you have
Absolutely.
like trigger things where you're just like, okay, this is what I need to say.
Actually, I would
Yeah,
have done a different order.
I'm just very impressed with how I didn't even get an opportunity to ask any questions for a bit there, but I was listening
Yeah,
to
man.
the entire thing. I have a bunch of questions because I like to do this. So you're explaining to me how you're creating this BSC token, which is going to be launched on Saturday. With regards to your platform, when do you plan on launching the platform, or is there an ETA with regards to your exchange?
Yeah, so we're aiming for Q1 2022, somewhere within Q1. So we're targeting the beginning of quarter 2021. Sorry, 2022. But of course, the developing something, it comes with a lot, right? So there has to be audits that take place. There has to be stress tests on the infrastructure. There needs to be penetration and security tests, infrastructure tests. So it all depends on how long that process takes. So our development shouldn't be longer than about 6 to 7 months, but it's the steps that happen after that fact that could take a while. So we're aiming for Q1 2022, but of course, this is a business and organization, and we need to do it right. So it can be delayed. We haven't officially announced a launch date for the platform yet.
Right,
That's all good.
and just to add a little color to Neville's statement. So we mentioned, okay, 6 months onwards from here. But guys, one thing to take into consideration, and it is a fact, is essentially our platform has been under development for more than 6 months, right? So stage one and stage two took us a while to get through. That was completely self-funded. We had the team. Most projects will come to you with an idea, pitch the idea, pitch the vision, and be like, okay, guys, through the token, now's when we're going to build it out. We did it in a backward manner. We said we're going to do this. The exchange will be built nonetheless, irrespective of the BSC token launch, irrespective of anything that comes in the way. We will build out the exchange. And now we're at a position where we essentially open up the doors to allow like-minded investors and visionaries to come along for the journey. So again, the exchange will be built nonetheless.
No, that's all right. With regards to your exchange, so you're becoming a BSC platform, or you're becoming a BSC token, with the aim that you're going to make your own chain down the road. When you release this, initially, will your token as a BSC token be tradable with tokens of various platforms, and how do you plan on accomplishing that until you guys are able to bridge into your own chain, etc.?
So the objective is that we would continue our development plan, keep pushing the platform development, and then once the native coin, the blockchain, and the platform is ready for use, we would migrate anyone holding the token to our platform in the form of our native token. So like the token in the BSC space is not the end state for Steam Exchange. It's kind of the bridge to the platform. And once the platform is ready, we're gonna migrate those users to our platform with our native coin.
That makes sense. With regards to your exchange, what are some other aspects that we can see? Like, what are some other uses? For example, do you plan on having leverages on your exchange? Do you plan on doing any loans on this?
So definitely not right away. Those are separate registrations, separate licenses. We are going to be operating, or at least aiming to get our trading like permission to trade and stuff like that first. That's our number one priority, because the platform itself, the functions and features in its core are the differentiator here, right? And then everything else are just apples and cherries on top of the cake. So actually, not apples. I don't know who puts apples on their cake, but cherries on top of your cake. But derivative
Remind me
leverage.
not to make you a cake ever.
Thanks, Gary. Gary's here as well, our CEO. So if you have any questions for him, you can shoot one to him as well. But yeah, so those are separate licenses that we are aiming to get down the road. It just definitely won't be included in our initial launch of our platform because there's a lot more qualifications that come into play.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. So I can talk about that or that. Sure, we'll talk about the launch. So with regards to launch, how do you plan on doing this launch? Will it be a DX sale, or what's your goal for this? You said it was on the 25th. What time is that at? And yeah,
So
it's
we're
gonna be.
doing our launch
Go
to
ahead.
Pink Sale, actually, so not DX Sale. So we always like supporting up and coming projects, up and coming platforms. So we did vet Pink Sale for a while. We were going to go with DX Sale. That was our original intention, but Pink Sale kind of reached out and said, "Hey, did you guys even check out our platform?" And obviously, my answer was no. So I checked it out. I did some research. I looked at the way it was built. I looked at the offerings that they have. The pricing obviously was a major consideration, and then we ended up going with Pink Sale.
Nice. How is the sale going to be? Is it going to be like a whitelist, or is it going to be just a public sale on the Pink Sale, or?
Yeah, so Pink Sale only offers one tier, but they give you the option of enabling and disabling whitelist. So it's going to be whitelist in the beginning,
Mhm.
and then after X amount of time, maybe 30 minutes, an hour, it'll switch over to public.
Okay. Returning over here, physical places. So will it be primarily in Toronto that you're having these physical education places? Most likely just initially, but do you plan on expanding this throughout Canada? For example, I'm in the Vancouver area, so be beneficial out here as well. As well as do you plan on expanding throughout the world?
Absolutely. So in the beginning, because Toronto's kind of our home, we're gonna obviously set roots here in Toronto, and then as we progress and as we grow, we will expand throughout Canada first before we start moving into the world. So our objective is to move into the key areas in the world as fast as possible, but obviously with the limitations of regulation, compliance, and being welcomed by the jurisdiction. So in the beginning, our locations will definitely just be Canada strong, and then after that, we will expand out of Canada.
Awesome.
You gotta mute yourself. You got background noise when they're talking.
It's the
Can
little
you hear
puppy.
me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me when I do this? Can you hear me when I do this?
Oh yeah.
Oh, so whatever it's called. So I've got muting on my headset as well as muting on the Telegram. So it seems like it's still going through the Telegram. Sorry about the puppy. I thought I was muting myself.
No worries. Yeah, and
Um,
just the hatchback, you mentioned what time. It would all be going down at 3 p.m. EST, guys. So 25th Saturday at 3 p.m. EST.
nice. That's noon PST or sorry, my puppy is going crazy. 7
And
p.m.
if you guys can't remember what time, it's just 3 p.m. New York time. Same.
Or 7 p.m. UTC.
Correct. Yes.
Sorry, I do it so often. Does anybody have any questions with Steam Exchange? That they'd like to ask?
The pink sale, it doesn't have you don't need tokens or anything to participate, right? It's a free platform.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. I've never used it before. I'm just gonna go to their site right now.
Yeah, it's fairly new. We're gonna put out some information about how to participate and whatnot tomorrow, so people can get prepared. But it does look and feel very similar to DXL, so that's a benefit if you're used to DXL.
It's
Yeah.
essentially like a fork of them, right?
Kind
Okay.
of, but they have other functions and features that make them pretty cool. So we did want to support them and help them on their way if we're capable, right? So if it does help them, we'll find out, right?
Cool.
They haven't had a large launch like us yet, so we're going to be one of the first ones to do a larger launch through their platform. So we're definitely looking forward to working with them and being one of the first for them.
I don't really want to talk about them, but how long have they been out for? I've never seen them or anything.
They're fairly new.
It's
I
funny.
think they have
It's funny.
85.
we're partners with Pink Sail here at Moonarch. If Novell and them say, "Oh, we got you through Moonarch," then we get a percentage of them. But it's
Sweet.
okay. So and then Venom doesn't know about it. That's okay.
Yeah,
They've
I
been
didn't know.
doing fairly.
Oh,
Probably like a
someone's
couple months.
chilling. Someone's chilling.
No, you
So
guys
they did
already
a good
created a
job
partnership,
of.
so
They did a really good job of reaching out to us, right? They were
Oh my god,
in
bro!
touch
I
reaching
got
them out.
so many
Yeah,
DMs.
yeah,
Oh
and
my
I think it
god.
was for the right reason, right? They're fairly new. Like you can see on the screen, they only have 85 projects launched to their platform. So I think it's good to support those guys, right? Like the new guys that are trying to make a name, um, and it seems to work, right? Their functions and features work really well. So as far at least in my testing, and I tested a lot. I think I deployed maybe 108 versions of an unnamed Steam Exchange contract into their pre-sale platform. So in testnet, so they definitely got a lot of testing done for me, and I did like it. I did like the way it looked and felt. I liked the way it was all put together. So definitely a shout out to Pink Sale for that. Good job.
sorry, unintentional shilling.
There you go. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a mid ad in YouTube, right?
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
So
Any
there's
more
no,
questions?
you
You
don't
go.
get your tokens before launch, right? Like on like Bounce Pad or whatever, you get your tokens as soon as you
Oh, that would be
actually,
disastrous.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
would be
that's a
disastrous.
the
And
ridiculous way to
it
do
is,
it.
it was disastrous for a lot of projects. So I
Yeah,
mean, that's not a thing on Pink Slip, or Pink
no,
Sail, sorry.
pink sales are finalized, right? So you finalize it at the end, kind of
Okay,
like DX sale, and then you go from there.
I think
cool.
that's why Venom's asking is we recently did one with Pokemon BSC and it was unbalanced and it was just
Can I
terrible.
ask you guys, like,
Pink Sail's
honestly,
definitely-
why do you invest in meme tokens? Like, what's like to me? I don't invest in anything remotely like dog, cat, kangaroo. All of that's just like
Oh.
it's a shit stained carpet to me. You know what I
So
mean?
It's because not all of them are, and they have a lot of potential sometimes. That's the
Yes,
reason.
well,
And they're scratch tickets.
I understand, but 99% of them, let's just say it like that, are just it's inevitable that the token's gonna die.
so what
Yeah.
happened actually is in March when majority of us started, February, March, that's when the meme tokens started, like the Hoj and SafeMoon, etc. And they did all really well. So now we have this association with meme tokens can do well. Nowadays, though, you're right. 99% of the meme tokens that actually are launched are pump and dumps, honeypots, or scams. And so we're all kind of, I believe, pushing away from them as well. And so we're moving towards use cases such as Steam Exchange and other tokens. So you're right. We don't buy them as much as others think that we do anymore because they've kind of burned us so much that we've lost our trust and
Trust
compassion,
with them.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where I this is now you understand why I said I can open a shit stained carpet store.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just kind of bizarre. Like I mean, I'm guilty of it, right? I invest in some plays myself, but like I always go in with the expectation that my money's not coming back out, right? It's like putting quarters into an arcade and you lose in the first round. So
No.
um,
In arcade, you go, you have fun, you take your girl out, man. This is different.
yeah, I mean it is what it is, right? That's
Oh my
what the
god, did I
BSC
just
space
say
has
I
become.
took my girl out there in arcade? I can't believe I just said that.
Yeah, you're old money.
Your age is showing. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm old.
No, we
Yeah,
all
so
are.
I think
We all
that's
are.
what the space has become, right? And we're hoping that this launch and this project is a differentiator in that, right? And it kind of navigates a space back to legit projects with legit use cases, or at least inspires people, right? Like to see what we're taking on. The size of this project is pretty enormous, right? Like the undertaking is huge. So hopefully it inspires people to take on similar aspirations and cleans up the space a little bit.
Yeah, guys.
With
The idea is that when we have our blockchain and everything, it's gonna run through the exchange or to facilitate everything. So how it works is projects will pay us to audit them. They will give us a business plan. That'll have to be something tangible, with a name, a company, whatnot. We'll set the record for what it has to be, right? Coming in the later days, right? In the quarter one when we're ready for it. But I don't want I don't want anything that can be remotely run. If the company dies 10 years later because the company took a loan and realized that it just went belly up because they couldn't afford to pay back their $300 billion, just like a company just did in China, then it's not on us at that point. But it's on us if the token dies in the next month or 2 or 3 or 6. You know what I mean? So we will be vetting stuff that you can't just come to our blockchain and launch whatever dog coin you want. It's just not possible. It's gonna have to go through us. The final say is ours. And this
That
is
makes
where
sense.
we wanna create the gold standard, right? So um, anything associated with our platform, blockchain technology, everything is essentially 99% rug proof. Okay, that's what we're trying to get at. And anything like if you have a choice between launching with us and making that bold statement that we vetted you versus launching in the BSC space, and you go and launch in the BSC space, why would anybody touch that?
Mhm.
That's the end goal. I got screwed over in Quadriga so hard. I'm still recovering from that.
Yeah.
You're from Vancouver, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 Bitcoins and 50 Ethereum coins down the drain. So,
I'm sorry, man.
yeah.
Oof.
Does anyone else have any more questions with Steam Exchange? Kind of like, do they like Montreal Canadiens or Toronto, or like anything else?
Toronto, man, the team that never wins, but the team you have to support.
I don't know. Gary sounds like a
Oh my
Montreal fan.
God, bro. I don't listen. I'm gonna get the Leafs for my funeral so they can let me down one more time.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. Do you guys have any plans for expanding into your partnerships? I see that you have University of Waterloo, but previously have worked with Ryerson University, which is also in the Toronto base, on virtual reality for nursing students. I'm wondering, do you have any? Are you in talks with any more schools, or do you plan on talking to like the Toronto Raptors, etc.? I mean, that'd be pretty extreme, but
We picked Waterloo because they're basically the breeding ground for uh, Canada's Silicon Valley students.
that makes sense.
We did reach out to like University of Toronto, York University, Ryerson. Those were all people we had engagements with, or university had engagements with. It's just the University of Waterloo was the most interested in our vision and platform. All the other universities kind of came in and said, "Hey, yeah, no problem. You can do our co-op program. Go at it, register. We'll approve it. Blah blah blah." But like University of Waterloo was the most vested and interested in what we were doing.
That makes sense. What about like sports teams and
It's not that we
things
can't
like that?
partner up with all them. We can partner up with all them, but we can't bring in a class full of students. Like I can't bring in 30 students and pay them all at the same time and teach them all at the same time. So we have
Yeah,
to
no,
pick.
that's
So
understandable.
we picked literally what I believe is the best university in Canada for development and education in regards to technology.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and for the sports teams, I mean, we're here if they're listening. We'd like to speak with you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So we did have some connections to people, but we don't like exploring those too much, right? Like we'd rather get it from the horse's mouth instead of going through this connection, going through that network, and navigating to the end goal. We'd rather wait until the opportunity arises and then capitalize on it or move in with it.
Yeah,
So
makes
Yeah,
in
it's
sense.
other
always
Yeah.
words,
more effective when you hit a
cut
strand.
corners and do any back channel deals and paying people out. Like it's just not right. It's organic with us.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else have any more questions?
I mean, I could pay someone to do a tweet, but that's not going to be any kind of
No,
partnership.
no,
or
no. But we're
Yeah.
not paying no moon boys to come do
I
a
know.
video to drop us
No,
20,000
no.
Telegram members. You know
It's
what I
not
mean?
worth it, man. You
Yeah,
don't
for sure.
market
Yeah,
like
That's what
that
that's what I
nowadays.
mean, right? Like that,
Yeah,
it's not worth it. It doesn't have any real impact. And the
it
idea with us
doesn't.
is we want people to be interested, invested into the vision, right? And to understand the vision. I think Steph Curry partnered with a cryptocurrency platform or his local cryptocurrency platform. So it's out there. I'm sure there's going to be other people interested in doing the same. So one day it's possible a Toronto icon or a Canadian icon will step up and say, "Hey, I like what you guys are doing. Let's chat." But we'll just wait till that day comes. We're not going to actively look for them.
No, yeah.
At least
Right now,
not
you
yet.
guys, You guys are doing exactly what you should be doing. Just essentially create it organic, create your platform, and then once your platform's out and you start bringing in some money and you're actually paying off those debts, etc., then start looking for others like people to partner with. But right now, just get the organic growth. There's no point in just pumping it because it's inevitably going to dump, and you guys are a bit of ways from the exchange coming out, so it's going to be a process of just kind of like maintaining that level of commitment from your members, etc., and just maintaining the price point. So don't overextend yourself is what I'm saying.
For sure. Like the platform is always going to be a number one priority. And the type of people we are tie into the output of the token, right? So we're definitely going to do our best to make sure that the price floor stays stable. If not, it goes to the roof. But again, this is a space that we can't control, right? It becomes it is what it is situation. But we can do our best to make sure that we control as much of it as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nobody say to the moon, guys. Please. Nobody say when moon. Please.
When moon? Just kidding.
Oh my God, the moon is overcrowded, bro. Everybody's going to the moon. It's overcrowded. Screw the moon, bro.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next. I want to go to
Let's
the
go
next
to Mars.
galaxy. I wanna poke around the next galaxy.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any more questions for the Steam Exchange team?
Yeah, I've got a quick question. I just tuned in now. I may have missed the answer for it, but this is a pre-sale, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's a pre-sale.
Okay, and what's the soft cap and hard cap?
The soft cap is 1,000 and the hard cap is 1,675.
Okay, and I'm guessing this is launching on BSC, yeah?
Correct. Yep.
All right, thank you. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you, guys.
Not a problem. Thanks for your question.
Awesome. Any more questions? Good question, Alex.
Yeah, no, I think you guys pretty much answered everything in your first initial breakdown. Everything that I had to ask.
Yeah, this Neville dude, you're
Did
unbelievable.
we go over the 1 out of 4 thing or no?
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit. Yeah,
Alright.
we talked about the learning curve and the knowledge and stuff like that. So we touched on that for sure. Thanks, Michael, for sure. I mean, when you know your product, it makes it easy, right? It makes it, and especially when you're so involved with the development. So all three of us, like Gary, Chris, myself.
Do you want to give them the statistics on the amount of smart contracts that are out?
Oh my goodness! So we recently worked with our legal team, and of course, legal teams, they don't really know the crypto space. So we're educating them on the crypto space and showing them the actual depth of even just DeFi. And there was 4.1 million smart contracts deployed between BSC and ERC20, which is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous amount of smart contracts deployed to the blockchain.
That's why
It just-
nothing moons anymore, man. It's just too spread out.
Right, and then even if you do some math and you consider that, okay, even if 10% of the projects are scams or illegitimate, and each one raises revenue of like $10,000 of illegitimate money, that's almost like $32 billion of money transferred from innocent investors to illegitimate people, which is it's staggering. And I can promise you, our lawyer's jaw dropped when he saw that. He said he's in the wrong business.
I can imagine. Yeah, that's nuts.
So I think the average there was 140,000 contracts per country since the start of so like since 3 years ago.
Yeah,
And
per
that
like
brings us
active country, like technical
per
country,
like
right?
active,
So countries that
yeah.
are
So
tech
that
savvy
was
and whatnot.
out of 30 main countries that deploy contracts. So that brings us to about 42,500 smart contracts a year per country on average.
Wow.
Yep, it's definitely a regulation nightmare. But that's what we're working to iron out with them, right? We're trying to navigate the waters here, and that's another undertaking in itself.
Awesome. So if no one has any more questions, I think you guys covered a lot of this. I've been recording this the entire time, so I'll post it to my group. You guys feel free to take it as well. You can post it if you want, but you guys have done an exceptional job explaining Steam Exchange I look forward to your launch on Saturday, and seeing what you guys, how you guys progress. So
Awesome.
If
Thank
you
you for
guys-
having us, and thank
Thanks
you
so
everyone
much,
for your
man.
time.
No
Thank you
worries.
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Have a
Really
good day.
appreciate it.
Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Alrighty,
Take
guys.
care.
Be
Thanks,
well.
man.